Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. My video today is going to be part 2 of my Whole30 experience. I did part 1, which was days 1 to 15 a couple weeks ago, so I want to talk about days 16 to 30. Actually, today is like 33. I'm continuing it, so sort of this second half of my experience and what I'm feeling. Alright, in my first video, I talked kind of day by day, broke it down day by day to tell you about what I was feeling, because there's so much stuff that happens in the first couple weeks and you can feel really differently depending on the day. Day 16 to 30, I never really found that it was like some days were just like really energetic and some days were really down. I sort of just kind of felt more even keel. So I'm gonna kind of talk about sort of my general experience on the second half and sort of how I feel at this point. Also, I will apologize for my scratchy voice. At least I feel like I sound scratchy to myself. I've got some wicked seasonal allergies and they are making me mighty crazy at the moment. So if I sound scratchy, that is why. Okay, first let's start off with the physical things I noticed. First of all, I lost like 5 pounds. I actually weighed myself this morning, actually after I ate breakfast and had a lot of tea, and I really didn't want to weigh myself after eating breakfast, but I was like, ah, screw it, whatever. And I was down like 5 pounds, so I think really I'm probably down like 6 or 7. So woohoo, go me. But losing weight was not my goal. It was just to feel better and not feel like bleh all the time. So lost about 5 pounds. Also, I feel like my tummy is super flat. I do not feel bloated. I just feel like very good with regards to my tummy. Also, I find that now I have more of like a nice like hourglass shape. I felt like before my torso was just kind of like boop, like straight down. So now I notice, I'm like, wow, like I got some nice little curves going on there. So that's fun. Also, I find that my body does not really ache. Sort of felt like before I started this, like my joints just had this overall sort of achiness to them, but now I feel pretty good. Also regarding headaches, during the whole 30, I had 2 headaches, and I talked about one of them in my first video. And I think the first one I had was because I was starving by the time I ate, and then my body was just not happy with me. And then the second one, I actually just was tested for my vitamin D, and my vitamin D levels are really low. So I'm taking this like super crazy high dose of vitamin D. And I notice every time I take it, I either feel like super anxious or super tired, or one day I got a really wicked headache. So I'm pretty sure that second headache was more vitamin D related and not because of like withdrawal or, you know, something food related. Also, my final physical thing, my skin is so much clearer than it was a month ago. And that was kind of that was like one of the main reasons I did this. I get like some crazy like acne like along like kind of here, and then my jawline, and then also like my chin, and it is so much clearer now a month later. I'm so excited to see how this is like in a month. So weird to be like, wow, my skin is smooth, it's not all bumpy. So yes, finally, I'm like one of the cool kids who has clear skin. Okay, let's talk mental stuff. So before I started this, I kind of felt like some days I'd be super high, like super anxious, some days like low and depressed and sad, and just like the fluctuations were like, woo, all over the place. Now I sort of feel like, you know, some days I might get like slightly anxious or like slightly moody or like sad, but it's maybe more like this. Like it's not these like mega roller coaster earthquake waves. It's pretty central. So I definitely feel way more even keel with regards to my moods. Also, I feel so much more focused, like I can actually focus and concentrate on something and just like complete a task. I don't feel as cloudy. I just feel like way more with it mentally, much more clear. Also, just with regards to other people, I find myself much more patient with other people. You know, sometimes before, like maybe if I were driving or if I were in the store or somebody was just kind of annoying, it would be like, rah, like get out of my way. But now I just kind of feel like, okay, we all have to coexist together and let's just be calm and patient. I feel like way more rational. Just, yeah, I don't get like worked up about stupid stuff like I used to. Just so really like I just feel mentally like way more in the center. Also, in regard to relationships, I actually noticed this the last time I did Whole30 and I was hoping I would notice it again this time. feel like my husband and I, after we do a month of Whole30, we are just so much nicer to each other and we get along so much better. And there's just sort of this lightness to our relationship. Like, not everything is so serious, not everything is like, rah, but it's just like, it's just calm, like it's fun. Just in general, I feel like we're so much more patient with each other, just way calmer with each other, and just nicer to each other. So yeah, in general, I feel way better, just, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, all that. I just kind of feel like way more in the center, way calmer, way more zen. Physically, it feels super good. The only thing that I'm still dealing with, it's this stupid seasonal allergies, and that is not going to be cured by Whole30. Obviously, there's no way to know like how I would feel right now if I were, you know, eating dairy and grains and all this other stuff. I think my allergies would be so much worse right now. So anyway, that's just something I just have to deal with that because it's pollen and there are trees outside. So I can't remove that. Okay. Also, I want to talk briefly about reintroduction, what I'm planning to reintroduce or not reintroduce. One thing I already did reintroduce is honey. Like honey, any sweeteners are not allowed on Whole30. I had a cup of tea yesterday with some honey. I don't really think honey is like bad. I think honey is like really actually very good for your health. So I'll certainly reintroduce that and have honey with tea now and then, like, especially if I feel like this, if I feel all sick. I don't know, legumes, didn't really eat a lot of legumes before this anyway. Dairy, I know makes me crazy. Don't plan on reintroducing any dairy. Grains, possibly like quinoa. I mean, I'm not a big rice person. I'm not a pasta person. I know that wheat and I just are not friends. We don't get along. So grains, I'm not really planning on reintroducing. Chocolate, yes, I have these awesome paleo chocolate cups in my cupboard that have been sitting there and I've just been looking at them for the last month. So I definitely plan on bringing back, you know, some treats, like some chocolate, because that's just delicious. But as far as reintroducing stuff, I feel really good and I'm used to these habits we've made. And you know, I really like the whole concept of just like a lot of vegetables and some fruit and, you know, some proteins and fats, like healthy fats, avocados, nuts. So I don't really feel deprived at all doing this. There are certain things that I certainly missed, but it's not like, oh my God, the Whole30 is over, I need to go like pig out on cheese. So no, I don't really plan on reintroducing a lot of stuff. Also, I want to talk about groceries because I felt like doing Whole30, I sort of felt like we spent a lot of money on groceries, which we did. But I found myself becoming so much more organized with regards to meal prep and, you know, making a grocery list and really sticking to it and just making that food last. So I really tried to just go grocery shopping one day a week. And like, I have my little calendar, my little marker board calendar on the fridge. Every week I would figure out what we were having for lunch and dinner. And then I would just grocery shop according to that. I would only get what we needed. And it really worked out well because I found like before when I didn't really have a plan, I wasn't really organized, I found myself throwing away a lot of stuff. But with this, anything I was buying, there was a point for it. You know, I was going to actually be using that in something. So I did feel like we started spending a bit more money on groceries, specifically meat, because I'm not going to buy like cheapo meat. I'm very anal when it comes to meat quality, because the meat industry is just kind of whack. So yeah, meat was the only thing I found that we were spending more money on. But I mean, I was still going to Costco and Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, usually just once a week. I also have been making orders from Thrive Market because they do have a ton of like paleo and Whole30 stuff on there, for a way better price than if you would buy these things at other stores. So I sort of felt like, at first, I felt like we were definitely spending a lot more, but then it sort of evened out. Okay, social situations. So I had a couple social situations where I was eating at other people's houses and I couldn't actually control everything regarding food, which, you know, they were kind of challenging. So I want to briefly discuss that. So the first one, you know, one of my good friends in Madison was having a party, and actually our other friend, who's actually from Mexico, was in town. So she was a foreign exchange student when I was in high school, so I haven't seen her for years, but really cool girl, really wanted to see her. So I'm like, okay, I'll eat before. And it was like an afternoon party. So my husband and I ate lunch before we went. So we were not hungry. But when we got there, you know, my friend my friend was like, okay, what do you want to eat? Like, do you want a beer? Do you want some chips? Do you want some of this? And I'm just like, well, actually, like, we're kind of doing this cleanse. Like, I called it a cleanse because I don't want to get into like the whole thing. And I certainly felt like, oh, we were those really annoying people on a cleanse. But you know, I swear, like, once we said like, oh, we're doing this cleanse, and we sort of explained like what we could eat and what we couldn't, a plate of vegetables magically appeared for us. And you know, we just had some sparkling water and everything was fine. My friend from Mexico did make a traditional Mexican dish, and there was only one ingredient that we couldn't have that wasn't Whole30 compliant because it had sugar. So she just like scooped out some of this. It was like a pork dish. So she had kind of scooped out a bit for us separately. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. And you know, people were like really understanding with it, but you still just sort of feel like that little bit of guilt, like, oh, I'm that annoying person. But anyway, that was fine. So my other social situation, I actually went to visit my parents for a few days. My mom knew this was how I was eating, so she kind of knew what to expect. I did take a bunch of fruit and vegetables up. My husband and I actually joined a CSA, a community supported agriculture. So we actually got our first vegetable share before I went home, and I knew my husband wouldn't prepare all these weird vegetables without me. So I took most of our CSA share up. So I had a lot of vegetables. I took a bunch of avocados up. I took some fruit. So like I did take certain things with, because I didn't want to be like, okay, mom, we have to go to the grocery store and buy all this weird stuff for me. So yeah, I just kind of felt like prepared to take that stuff up, and everything was fine there. One thing I did notice, obviously at my parents' house, there was like a lot of Whole30 non-compliant food. So I was just kind of like, oh, I really want that, or like I want that. And my mom's a big baker, so I was just like, oh, cookies, like everywhere. So it was probably a really good thing that I was doing Whole30 when I was there, because I'm just like, nope, can't have that, not gonna have it. So I certainly did sort of feel like I was imposing my like eating behavior on my family, but I felt like they were okay with it. Like I felt like, you know, I wasn't telling them like, no, you can't eat that, you can't eat that. I just was like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. So I was okay in that sort of setting. So there you go. That is sort of my Whole30 experience. I feel so much better mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. I'm so glad I decided to do this a month ago. And like I said, I'm going to just kind of continue on it. You know, if there are days where like there's a special occasion and, you know, maybe I want like a glass of wine or like a beer or something, I'm going to have it and just sort of see how I feel. So I have no intentions of reintroducing a lot of stuff because I love the way I feel right now and there's nothing I really miss. But if there is a situation where I'm like, oh, that looks really good, then I'll have it. But yeah, super, super, super happy with this. I think I'll sort of kind of go like Whole30 and paleo-esque. That'll be sort of my new lifestyle. So anyway, I would love to know how you are doing with Whole30, your Whole30 experiences. It was really fun doing my last video and having people comment because people are like, hey, I'm on this day. And there was actually one lady, we were on the same day. So that was super fun. Anyway, I'd love to know your Whole30 experience and, you know, some of the foods you're eating and everything and anything. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!